Championship showdown time in the GT4 European Series here at the Nurburgring. Race 2 of the weekend, the final race of the championship. Round 12 of the series then, and all three classes, Silver Cup, Pro-Am and Am, are on the line. And there's going to be a lot to look for in this 60-minute race. The grid is starting to take shape, and on pole position is going to be the BMW in the hands of Ricardo van der Ende. He was the man that set the qualifying time, and this car, in fact, having taken 2 pole positions over the weekend, Ewan Mackay for race 1. They lost out a bit on pure pace yesterday, but today, as you can see, the jovial Dutchman is very bullish about his chances as he sits them on pole position, getting ready for what is going to be, for him, I suspect, a long first stint to try and maximise the time in the car. Alongside on the front row is going to be the similar BMW in the hands of Gabriele Piana, and on the second row of the grid will be Benjamin Lessen and the BMW of Alec Udell. It's going to be a 32-strong grid, 31 of which will be on the grid. One has to start from the pit lane. It's the car that won yesterday of Alex Lamberts and Romain Monti for causing a collision at Zandvoort. It was quite a large accident, to say the least, that was triggered, and so the officials said that the penalty for that is that you must start from the pit lane in the next race that Alex Lambert would be the start driver for. That is this race, and hence that car will start from the pits, and we'll see what progress can be made. It's going to be a very, very difficult ask for it to be a winning car, but we'll see what pace it has to try and get up through the order. As far as the championship is concerned, within the Silver Cup, Jan Kisiel, Max Kobold versus Simon Knapp and Alec Udell. Those are the drivers in with a chance of winning this. Dan Mackay and Benjamin Lessen are a long way back. Mathematically, it would just about possibly be possible, but they need a lot of bad luck for the other drivers. So it's a pretty much two-way fight for the Silver Cup. As far as the other classes are concerned, the AMS is almost done in favour of Clement Zeiler and Pascal Bachmann. They're 22 points ahead. But let's just catch up with drivers on the grid and join our reporter, Dakota Jane.
Now, Dan, you'll be looking for a win today because those championship points are going to be vital today.
Yeah, we're still with a shot at winning the championship, but only if we win. So for us, nothing apart from a win is acceptable today. Otherwise, we're not going to win. So.
Now,
I said win a lot there, I think, like 5 times I said the word win.
No worries. Now, your brother is actually in front of you, and you'll be racing with him. What is it like racing with your brother? Is there a gentleman's agreement, or is Mum watching at home going, oh, God?
Mum probably is watching, but we still race each other hard. It's no different, it's just another car. It's just that I have to speak to the person afterwards for a few years, which is unfortunate, but no, I'll race him like anyone else, and he'll do the same with me.
Well done, let's see how you go.
Cheers.
Thanks.
So Dan Mackay, double winner at Monza. Ewan Mackay has not yet had a win this year, but it could come here. Let's see, as Benjamin Lessen in the Franz Verschoor run McLaren is good to go there on the grid. That car lining up on the second row of the grid. And it's BMW, McLaren, BMW at the front in the top 4. Benjamin Lessen gets himself ready to go. And this is how Pro-Am looks. This is another class to be resolved. Marcus Paver and Lucky Treft ahead of Marius Zug and Gabriele Piana. So that is the championship fight. It's a bigger gap for Zug and Piana to make up, but it's doable, possible, but it would need, again, a bit of bad luck for Marcus Paverud and Lucky Treft. You score in the top 10, just to slightly complicate matters, there are 1 or 2 cars here and 1 or 2 drivers that have not done previous rounds. If you join the championship late for the last 2, you're not able to score points. So that, again, slightly affects the situation from what you see on track to what is being scored. So the grid with Ricardo van der Ende on pole position and Gabriele Piana alongside. The second row, Benjamin Lessen and Alec Udell, with David Griesner and Reinhard Koffler on the third row in the Pro Sport Performance Aston and the True Racing KTM, respectively. On the fourth row, there is the, by David Ortman driven Aston Martin, and alongside him, Nikolai Moller-Madsen, the outgoing champion in the Audi. Next comes Mark van der Aert, who lines up alongside Dominic Schrammels Mercedes. Oliver Söderström will start on the inside of the 6th row of the grid. And then you've got the Pro-Am championship leading car of Marcus Paverud, the Lippert run Mercedes there lining up alongside. Then the Silver Cup championship leaders a long way back on the 7th row, Jan Kisiel, with work to do here. Alongside is Nicholas Schürrle, who had a puncture in yesterday's race. Then you've got the Angermeyer KTM, not eligible for points. Co-driver Mads Siljehaug is. Alongside is Guillaume Mondron in the Audi that got a drive-through yesterday. Julian Downes Aston Martin lines up alongside Andy Merrick in the Bullet Racing Mercedes on the next row of the grid, ahead of Luc Ibanez in the Ginetta and AM champion-elect Clement Zeiler and Pascal Bachmann. Then is the Allied Racing Porsche, number 21. Benjamin Mazetis, ex-single-seater racer, will go first. Johan Vannerum, who was the AM category winner yesterday, lines up alongside. Then, after woes yesterday, on the grid, good to see Mika Stanley for Academy Motorsport, and David Dermont lines up alongside for Salazar. In 718 is Kevin Gilardoni, racer and rally driver, in the very smart gold Cayman Porsche. Alessandro Giovanelli is alongside him for Patrick Seligslag's team, ahead of David Loget's Alpine, and then Onda Erdem's KTM. The next car on the grid is going to be the BMW of the Lestrup Racing Team, with Joachim Söderström starting. Max Tresoldi is next on the grid. And then Finlay Hutchison will start last on the grid. Now, he didn't qualify this car. It was going to be Will Moore to share with Matt Cowley. Will has decided not to race. Finlay Hutchison drafted in. He's also in the GT3 races, but because he didn't qualify, he's put to the back of the grid irrespective. And then we have from the pits number 66, which is going to be started by Alex Lamberts, and that, as I say, is the car that won yesterday. So it's a penalty pit lane start, and we'll see what progress can be made up through the grid. So within Pro-Am, it is an 18-point deficit that Zug and Piana have to make up, whereas within the Silver Cup, the margin between the top two teams is just 2 points. So that is what Kisiel and Kerbot have over Knapp and Udell. Points start with 25 for a win, 1 for 10th place, Formula 1 style, and there is, in the gloom, the winning car of yesterday with the enforced pit lane start, that penalty for causing a collision at Zandvoort that wiped out an awful lot of the field and led to a rather lengthy delay as well. So we will go racing shortly. There will be, of course, a formation lap before the cars get underway. So now the field released, pressure on. 1 or 2 spots of rain, we also understand, starting to fall, which in a sense you shouldn't be surprised at that. We're at the Nurburgring, but we've had glorious weather Saturday and Friday, but now that could be another variable, and it looks very, very dark indeed. Headlights on, piercing the gloom as they go down to turn 1. And is that rain going to develop? Looking at the windows, nothing yet, but this is a place with its own weather climate. You just never know what is coming. It was yesterday on the grid, Ricardo van der Ende was talking about the sunshine. He said, look, we'll probably have snow before the end of the day. Well, last night about 9 o'clock, the heavens absolutely opened locally. Torrential rain. Thankfully, it's dry now, but it might not be by the end of the hour. Let us see. So drivers thinking about a race, a championship, and possibly concerns about the nature of the track and the grip available to them as the race gets underway. So the Pirelli tyres on which they all run might need to be changed in that pit stop for wet. We'll see. Field swarms through. Great variety in GT4. BMW, you can see. McLaren, Aston Martin, KTM, Audi, all through that first shot. And there is Ricardo van der Ende, who's been initially a single-seater start, but then very, very successful in GT racing for a number of seasons now. Downhill they turn, and down to turn 8. Ricardo van der Ende, the start driver, going against Gabriele Piana. Gabriele, the Italian, who lives locally, moved from Italy to the Nordschleife region, and is very much a specialist around this place, be it the Grand Prix track, the Nordschleife, or the combined for the 24 hours. He blotted his copybook a bit in the 24 hours this year, though, with rather much publicised coming together with René Rast, but didn't impress his team boss, Sean Breslin, hugely. However, he's had a good season in this car, has Gabriele Piana, and he and Marius Zug, who's in his first year of car racing, were victorious at Monza, and at Misano, and at Zandvoort, and here yesterday. So 4 wins. Let's see what pans out here as there Piana flicks the car sideways, trying to get warmth into the tyres. It has been declared a wet race, so the onus now is on the teams to sort themselves out for tyres rather than expect the race to be halted so they can change. Now they start to get themselves in that 2x2 side-by-side formation. The pit window between 25 and 35 minutes, and the pit stop that everybody has to make is 95 seconds. Pit in to pit out. Everybody, of course, a two-driver entry, and so now the field turns towards the chicane. The pace car will dive for the pit lane. It's the softer version of the chicane that GT4 uses, and the race about to get underway then. The race itself should be a good one, but the championship machinations are going to take up attention as well. So then, the final round of the GT4 European Series for 2019 is about to get underway. The cars now turn through turn 17. Spots of rain on the camera lens there. The lights on the gantry are red. It's a long hold. If the race director is happy, they will go to green. It's a bit scrappy at the back, but we are going racing. Good start is made by Van der Ende then. He tries to get the drop as they power down towards turn 1. Gabriele Piana slots in behind him, but on the inside line, Benjamin Lecen in the McLaren will go second. Also in a hurry needs to be Alec Udell in the first of the black BMWs. Away there goes Alex Lamberts as they turn into the first corner. Do they all get through safely? The championship leading Jan Kisiel was in the middle of a real squeeze there, but I think he's got away with it as they go up to turn 2 now. So the leading car, the BMW of Ricardo van der Ende. Benjamin Lecen second in the McLaren. A really good start by the first of the Aston Martins. That looks like David Griesner up into third place in the quicker of the Pro Sport performance cars. Around the outside look, there goes Jan Kisiel in Mercedes number 4 as they dive down towards turn 5 for the first time. Reinhard Koffer in the KTM, the black, orange and white car gaining ground on the inside line as now they sprint down towards turn 8. Through the right-hander they turn then. So, an hour of racing and a championship to be resolved as Ike Angermeyer dives up the inside of the KTM in the background there. Nikolai Moller-Madsen's red Audi turns uphill, and the leader, Ricardo van der Ende, is getting away as there Nicolas Schurl's blue Porsche forced out wide over the curb, kicks up the dirt. Through the Schumacher S they come for the first time, and this 32-strong entry then goes through the Ginetta all over the gravel. Luc Ibanez, that was at the wheel of it, getting it wrong. Running out of real estate, and Moller-Madsen up the inside of Dominic Schrammel goes through, does he? Yes. And now trying to find a way around as well, Oliver Söderström in the BMW. He's going to try the outside line as they come out of turn 12. Does he go through? They're still side by side as they plunge downhill here. Through the kink, the BMW does go by, place gained. Up to the end of lap 1. So, where in all of this is Alec Udell in BMW number 25? Where is Mercedes number 4, the championship leading car in the Silver Cup? There it is, with work to be done. Now, the BMW ahead can't score points, so notionally that's one place already gained as they come pouring over the line. Van der Ende leads, Lecen is second, the margin 2 seconds. David Griesner it is, going really well in third. Piana 4th, heading Pro-Am. Koffler is 5th, 6th is Udell, 7th is Ortmann, 8th is Van der Aar, 9th is Moller-Madsen, 10th is Söderström, and 11th is Kisiel. That means points for 9th because Piana in Pro-Am, and then Söderström is not eligible for points, so take him out of the equation. What about Mike David Ortmann? Is he another one that's not eligible for points? Yes, so it's another place gained in terms of points to be scored by the number 4 Mercedes. 007 goes through, which for the opening stint today is Julien Darrast, and Jamie van der Belt will take that car over. So, right now, Alec Udell needs to try to gain some places if he can, because effectively already 3 up through non-scorers in the same category is the Silver Cup leading number 4 Jan Kisiel Mercedes. Downhill they drop, only 2 points between them. Right now, championship advantage does go the way of Alec Udell, but a lot can happen in the remaining 56 minutes. As there you see Nikolai Moller-Madsen in the red Audi getting on the back of Mark van der Aar. Van der Aar and Koen Bogart sharing that sister car to the one pitching to win the championship. That can be quite useful for getting in the way of the yellow Mercedes, taking points off it. Nicolas Schurl there in the Cayman. goes through the Schumacher S, the blue Porsche Cayman, running at the moment 12th, and that's second in Pro-Am. 5th in Pro-Am is Marcus Pavarud, so the category leader has got quite a bit of work to do here. He dropped downhill, ready to go through the right-hander of turn 13. Then the climb to the chicane. Van der Ende getting away up front now, turning in purple sectors with the road clear ahead of him as he now tries to break away from the opposition. There's an incident already being investigated, and there, number 4, Jan Kisiel gets up the inside of Oliver Söderström. That's going to give him a place. That's going to give him 10th overall, coming up towards the timing line. The incident that is being looked at is between 71, which is Max Tresoldi, and 99, which is Under Erdem. The leaders go down towards turn 1. The leading gap is already up to 3.4 seconds. So Van der Ende is getting away. There is Kisiel trying to secure that place against Oliver Söderström, who doesn't score points anyway. Nicholas Schürrle gets up alongside as well. Can the Porsche get past the BM? No, not quite. Not for the want of trying, that's for sure, as the cars now go into turn 3, and wide goes Mark van der Aar. Nicolai Moller-Madsen gets past him. So look in the background there, look, the red Audi ahead of the second of the black BMWs of the MDM Motorsport team. For Eckeris, though, the M4 in the lead is that of Ricardo van der Ende. Runs wide up the curb where there's a bit of gravel ready to trap you if you're not careful. Benjamin Lessen runs second, but already he's dropped 3.4 seconds. And then David Griesner in third. David, who's been a very rapid driver this year, but came from German touring car series such as the BMW 235 category, such as the Opel Astra Cup, and has gone very well in both before coming up to GT4 racing this year. Kisiel on the attack, makes his move now against Mark van der Aar, who does need to repel him. Van der Aar's teammate fighting that car for the championship. Van der Aar runs up the curb, powering his way now towards turn 11. Can he keep that Mercedes at bay? Jan Kisiel tries to get on his toes under braking up the inside, can't do it. Accelerating now into the right at turn 12, ready to drop downhill. As for second and third, Lessen versus Griesner, the gap up a little in the first sector, but David Griesner hustling on, doing his best to get close enough to have a go. Kisiel on the back of Mark van der Aar, clearing turn of Söderström, and then Schürrle. Brake hard, turn into the chicane. Got a Mercedes battle building up for 13th. Dominic Schrammel ahead of Andy Merrick. But right now, a very wide BMW of Mark van der Aar trying to fend off Jan Kisiel. Nicholas Schürrle look up the inside of the blue Porsche. Does he go through? No, couldn't do it. Had a go on the inside at turn 17. Not able to go by, and a drive-through penalty comes for Under Erdem for contact against Max Tresoldi's BMW. Down through turn 1. Race leaders have gone. Kisiel to the outside of van der Aar. That leaves the door open. And a little bit of smoke then as the Mercedes goes wide and the bodywork and the suspension rub against the tyre. We've got a slow KTM coming into the pit lane. It's on the Erdem to serve his drive-through at turn 3. Here up the curve is Jan Kisiel, trying to shorten the corner and get a good line into turn 4 to have a go at Mark van der Aar, but to no avail as yet. Flashing the lights from Andy Merrick in the background as well as he comes up to have a go at Dominic Schrammel. So right now, 10 points go the way of Alec Udell and Simon Canap, because they're effectively 5th in the class, and 8th would be Jan Kisiel and Max Kerbolt. So that's a difference of 6 points. It would give the championship to the BMW drivers if things stay as they are. It is unlikely, but let's see what pans out. Right now it's advantage number 25 BMW and the sister car keeping at bay the championship rival Mercedes. So here Mark van der Aar, in a sense, being the sacrificial lamb. He's not being able to drive his own race necessarily. He is doing the job of keeping that Mercedes at bay. And Jan Kisiel might not like it, but part of the problem, of course, was he didn't qualify very well, so that stuck him behind the BMs on the grid. Through the chicane they come. The leader has just gone over the timing line. Van der Aar slides up the curve and there's contact. Through on the inside goes Jan Kisiel. Mark van der Aar got it wrong, tried to defend, contact made, he's run out wide, and that gives now Oliver Söderström the chance to get up alongside him as well. But Kissel, needing no second invitation, goes through, blasts himself ahead. Whether the officials are going to do anything about that, whether they deem it a racing incident, we will see. But Mark van der Aar got wide at the chicane up the curb. Kissel went for the gap. There was a rub between them, but he's gone through. So Söderström goes ahead of van der Aar, and now also Nicholas Schurl comes up on the outside line as well. Andy Merrick there could not be closer to the back of Dominic Schrammel. Look at the blue Porsche as Nicholas Schurl dives up the inside. He's up the curb, he's off the road, never mind up the curb. Side by side into turn 4, the Porsche has to give way. There, Reinhard Koffler going ahead of Alec Udell, securing his 5th place. Replay here, van der Aar had already made the mistake, comes across, Kissel, he wasn't fully alongside, was he? He was getting his nose in the gap that was closing. Let's see what the officials do. They're having a look at it, it's under investigation. And right now, Jan Kissel tries to break away, but is that going to earn a penalty? Tough one, especially with the championship being on the line. Mark van der Aar was certainly very determined to dive across the road and defend, but was he a little bit overly defensive in all of that, or was Jan Kissel a bit too optimistic? The Mercedes was never fully alongside. However, the officials will have a look at it. This is how the Silver Cup currently looks, provisionally. But bear in mind that we've got 1 or 2 drivers in the race that are not scoring points. Then does need to hold sway on those points. Yesterday's published points were wrong because the graphic didn't take into account those that didn't score points. So we'll keep an eye to how the situation pans out, because of course Jan Kissel now is in 9th place and is 9th overall. Take out a Pro-Am, take out at least 1 that doesn't score, creeps up the order. Out of turn 17 they come. So there is car number 8. That is the race leading Ricardo van der Ende. But as long as the BMW is ahead of the, this is the 25 BMW, is ahead of the number 4 Mercedes, that should be the championship done. So downhill comes Ricardo van der Ende. Not really a factor for the championship, but they've come so close, him and Ewan Mackay, to wins this year. They had a 2nd place at Paul Ricard, they had a 2nd place at Misano, a 2nd place at Zandvoort, a 2nd place here yesterday, but no wins. And that's the main aim now, try to finally score an outright victory. Nikolai Müller-Madsen goes through, still being chased by the car of Mike David Ortman. Number 1 is Nikolai Müller-Madsen, who accelerates down the hill once again here. Now, Mike David Ortman is another of these drivers that is not scoring points because he's late into the championship. The idea of preventing ringers, if you like, for coming in and scoring late season came from GT3 racing, but it's been employed in GT4 as well, and it means that those that are coming in this weekend can certainly race, but they can't score points. That's going to help Jan Kissel, because Mike David Ortman is one of those drivers. That car is not scoring points, it gains him a place accordingly. So on to Erdem at the back of the pack after serving his drive-through. And right now, Van der Ende to Nassen is 5.4 seconds. David Griesner runs 3rd. Reinhard Koffler is in 4th. And in 5th is 25 Alec Udell. Now 111 Gabriele Piana still well clear in the Pro-Am battle. The next Pro-Am car is 22 of Nicholas Schurl. And the category leader currently only 5th in the Pro-Am. Marcus Pavarot a long way back with work to do. So over the timing line go the race leaders. The leading gap overall creeping up all the time. There is Gabriele Piana. So he's heading for a class win. Doesn't matter where he is overall, as long as he wins the class. There's more contact under investigation now between number 2, interestingly, the Pro-Am Championship leader, Marcus Pavarud, and 15, that being the Luke Ibanez Ginetta. So if Pavarud gets a penalty or gets some sort of censure, that's going to be advantage Piana, who is on the road leading in Pro-Am in the race, of course. There is the BMW. Nikolai Moller-Madsen closing, catching, but irrelevant as far as the championship is concerned. This is how Pro-Am looks at the moment. Still, Pavarud and Trefts just have the advantage over Zug and Piana, only by 3, the predicted points, if things stay as they are. Pavarud, as I say, currently down in 5th in the class, so really it was always going to be a big ask for Zug and Piana. They could do with that car not finishing, or 1 or 2 more creeping ahead. Really, they need number 2 to have some problems, but if it's being investigated, never know. So Gabriele Piana pushes on, comes out of the Schumacher S and accelerates in pursuit of Silver Cup champions-elect and Udell and Simon Canap. Replay here of the Mercedes of Alessandro Giovanelli being shuffled aside by Kevin Gilardoni in the number 718 Cayman, others having to try and dodge through in avoidance. Giovanelli's Sellers Lab Racing Team Mercedes coming back onto the road. That in turn causes David Dermont's Green Sellers Lab Mercedes to scarp onto the grass in avoidance. Luke Ibanez Ginetta also having to go wide, trying to avoid the melee as well. So lots going on at the chicane. No further action in the incident between Ibanez and Pavarud. That's good news for the Pro-Am Championship leaders, as the race leader is on lap 8 now, and Van der Ende 6.8 seconds ahead. David Griesner running in 3rd place, only 4/10 back from Benjamin Lessen. Koffler is 4th, Alec Udell 5th, 6th is Piana, Moller-Madsen is 7th. There flashing the lights is Kissel, coming up to have a go at Mike David Ortman for position. And that car's going to be given over to Max Kubolt. Don't forget that Mercedes in the 2nd stint. Experienced driver is Kubolt, and indeed the champion 2 years ago. So let's see what progress he can make up through the pack. Up the curve goes the Mercedes, but Mike David Ortman, ex-ADAC F4 racer, hangs on to the position. That car, part of the Pro Sport Performance squad, keeps the place, but you can see now Jan Kishil all over the back of him, the Polish driver, former Renault Clio racer, Volkswagen Cup racer, raced in Lamborghini Super Trofeo last year, but first really came to prominence in the Audi TT Cup. He is right there on the back of the Aston as they drop downhill towards turn 8. That incident we saw between Giovanelli and Gilardoni is under investigation as well from the chicane. Mike David Ortman powers his way up the hill, dropping away now from Moller-Madsen, so this is for 8th place on the road. Mercedes booms up the hill, and flick of the wipers from Mike David Ortman. Those spots of rain we were being told about earlier haven't really come to anything. He says tempting fate, but the team's keeping an eye to the weather forecast just in case things are going to turn nasty, because with the pit stop window getting closer, if a tyre change is needed, ideally you want to do it in that regulation stop, not have to make a second one. So down the hill towards the chicane comes Nikolai Moller-Madsen, outgoing champion. Him and Milan Doce made a good partnership last year, along with Cedric Freiberghaus. It's been a tough season for them this year because the wins have been few and far between, one at Zandvoort, but Moller-Madsen then in the Phoenix Run car goes over the line. There you can see David Griesner still thundering on in pursuit of Benjamin Lessen, and that gap half a second as they come over the line. Jan Kishil pulls out, pulls back in again, tries to unsettle Mike David Ortman going down towards the first corner once again there. So the Mercedes turns through the arena on the back of the Aston, but right now Mike David Ortman is doing a good job hanging on to that place. Then you fast forward into the 2nd stint. Who is going to be the quicker out of the co-drivers of those 2 cars? Max Kubolt, vastly experienced. He will take over the number 4 Mercedes. What can he do then to try and find himself up the order against the Aston? It's going to be Alex Mees that takes over number 19, Christopher Mees' brother, GT3 racer Christopher Mees. So there, down the hill goes Jan Kishil up the curb. Fastest lap, incidentally, done by Ricardo van der Ende, who is well clear up front, pulling away all the time now. 7 seconds clear of Benjamin Lessen. It's going to mean, of course, we get the Mackays possibly fighting it out for a race win. It's going to be something to savour in the second part of the race. David Griesner, 3rd, close to that McLaren, but not close enough to have a go. Mike David Ortman once again up through the Schumacher S, hanging on to what is 8th place on the track, which is really 7th in terms of points scored. But he's not a point scorer, so Therefore, it elevates the number 4 Mercedes even further. You take out the Aston, you take out the Pro-Am BMW, and so 9th on the road, suddenly Kissel is looking at scoring 7th place points, which gets him, of course, closer to the fight against the BMW. Alec Udell in 5th on the road now. Fallen behind Reinhard Koffler. Up the curve goes Gabriele Piana in the BMW. He is losing touch just a little bit, and he's losing time to Nikolai Müller-Madsen. That gap's coming down for 6th and 7th in the race. The incident we saw between Giovanelli and Gilardoni is going to be looked at post-race, so the story might well rumble on after the flag here. Down towards turn 1 goes the BMW. Is there an opportunity for Nikolai Müller-Madsen to have a go? Yes, there is! He has a good look on the inside. Piana sensibly lets him go. He's not racing that Audi. He's going to lose a place overall, but it's not going to affect the points scored. OK, you could argue it gives him a buffer of another car between him and the class opposition, but he's not racing it for points, and so he lets the Audi go. Nikolai Müller-Madsen through them into the top 6 now. Van der Ende, 7.5 seconds to the good as we work that number 10. Schmidler-Sen in 2nd spot, Griesner 3rd, and Jan Kissel getting ever more frustrated there. Can't find a way past Mike David Ortman. Is it affecting his championship hopes? To a degree, yes, because if he were to get past, he'd be able to have a go perhaps at the Audi. Nikolai Müller-Madsen getting himself away up the road now as they come downhill into turn 8. Pit window is only just over 4 minutes and a bit away from opening. In the Pro-Am contest, Gabriele Piana leading from Nicolas Schurl, Dominic Schrammel, Andy Merrick, and then 5th, Marcus Pavarud, still in the lead of the championship. In the AMS, Johan Valerum is leading from David Loge, David Dermont, and where in all of this is Clement Seiler. He's dropped quite a long way back as Clement Seiler into 30th place overall, which is actually at the moment 6th in class. 22 points ahead, so they've virtually won it, but Clement Seiler possibly being very cautious in the first stint. There's Luke Ibanez on the back of 66. Now that's Alex Lambert, don't forget, from the pit lane. 24th he's running now, turning through the sequence of the Schumacher S. So from the pit lane start, Alex Lambert, who's been a BMW 235 championship runner, he's been a regular in VLN and the Nurburgring 24 hours, so he knows the circuit well, getting on with the job. Ideally they need a safety car to really get them into the picture, but certainly working up the order nicely is the second of the Bullet Racing cars winner yesterday. Andy Merrick in the car that he shares with the team patron, Stephen Patrick, in 14th place at the moment, as there, up towards the chicane, goes number 61. That's the Academy Motorsport Mika Stanley driven Aston Martin. Keeping at bay Alex Lamberts for the moment. Kevin Gilardoni, incidentally, in number 718. Porsche Cayman is being given a driving standards flag for contact with somebody else now, having made contact with Guillaume Mondron. But this battle pack, headed by Mark van der Aar, comes down through the arena, treble 7. Dominic Schrammel losing 1, losing 2 places. So Schrammel has lost out to van der Aar, he lost out to Elke Angermeyer. The wipers on 1 or 2 more cars now. It's still not really doing anything over on the pit straight, and actually that group not with the wipers on, so hard to really get a true indication as to whether drivers have put them on and just left them there in case, or whether it is actually starting to spit and spot around the circuit. Van der Ende, however, still leads the way. Lap times are going up, just makes one wonder a little bit about the nature of the track now. Van der Ende's last time at 2 minutes 6.1, over a second slower than he was doing earlier, and very few improvements coming in terms of sectors. Elke Angermeyer makes a move against Mark van der Aar now as they head up the hill. It might be that these lack of sector improvements are to do with battles. Van der Aar up the curve, gets it wrong, loses the place to Angermeyer. That was all triggered in a sense by Alex Lamberts, because he went quickly through the, through Andy Merrick. He went quickly through the Schumacher S, got it a bit ragged up the curve, and that made Mark van der Aar perhaps try a little bit harder, measuring his pace against the car ahead. He got it wrong, and so the KTM of the non-point scoring Angermeyer goes through. Big flash of the lights in the background look as now Pavarud tries to get onto terms with Schrammel. But he's not going to be able to find a way by there. Dominic Schrammel aiming for 3rd with Jan Reinig in the class. And up they come now into the turn 17 right-hander once again. There's the BMW through of Söderström, wipers on. And now to the inside line, tries to go. Dominic Schrammel, but Mark van der Aar, who's been losing places rather than gaining in this race, just able to fend him off there. Look, as they turn into the corner. Through the Mercedes arena they come. There is the Porsche Cayman in the background, that being Benjamin Mazetis, another German F4 graduate. And the two Mercedes here of Schrammel and of Pavarud all over the back of Mark van der Aar in the BMW. Van der Aar fending them off for the moment, but the pit window is about to open. So as the cars turn their way down through turn 7, who are we going to see bail early? Are we going to have, for example, any of that leading group in to give way to their co-drivers? Number 18 is David Griesner. Akhil Rabindra shares with the very fast German, so possible that they might do an early stop. You've got Reinhard Koffler behind with Patrick Niederhauser as his co-driver, another quick driver indeed, so interesting to see who we get stopping when here. Right, the pit window is now open, as you see. Benjamin Lessen in the McLaren heads into the left-right flick up now towards turn 17. None of these leading cars are pitting. Ricardo van der Ende booms past the pits once more in the BMW. Well clear of everybody else. This is the race they've been waiting for all season, really, but the pressure's going to be on Ewan Mackay to maintain that gap, especially against his brother Dan, who's going to take over that McLaren in second spot. Third, it's David Griesner. So BMW, McLaren, Aston, KTM, Audi, and Alec Udell pits early to give way to Simon Knapp. Mike David Ortman comes in also to give way to Alexander Mies. So the first of the stops are coming. Ricardo van der Ende has done the fastest lap of the race. And there is Alec Udell, the American, learning about new circuits. Simon Knapp has been around here many a time and he will take over. So in gets Simon Knapp. Started off in, like so many, single-seaters. He was a Dutch Formula Ford racer before moving to GT4. We had him in Blancpain Endurance in the early days, a GT3 racer, but it's in GT4 cars that he's really made a very good name for himself. There, turning through 18, David Griesner, Reinhard Koffler on the tail. The car's now up towards the Schumacher S once more. So Benjamin Lessen just able to maintain that gap. See how much litter there is on the outside line there. So you see where people have been running wide, bringing the rubbish onto the circuit, meaning it's a one pretty narrow line through the Schumacher S now. To the inside line goes Reinhard Koffler, but Griesner fends him off as they drop downhill. Absolutely together, these two now for third and fourth places. Away goes Simon Knapp. Can he stay ahead then of the number 4 Mercedes, where that is given over to Max Kubolt, who drove with Simon Knapp last year in the BMW. They're going into the chicane. Reinhard Koffler still hunting down David Griesner. And now Koffler pits to give way to Patrick Niederhauser. So he can't find a way through, get out of the traffic, do the driver change. Over the timing line goes Benjamin Lessen. David Griesner now released in the sense that he doesn't have to defend. Let's see whether he can bring down that gap against the second place McLaren. In comes Reinhard Koffler then, dropping down the order as he heads to the pits. And the car stops, and around rushes Patrick Niederhauser. Then he clambers, that very distinctive KTM front bodywork, the whole roof, windscreen, the whole section lifts forward, and Koffler gives way to Niederhauser. So that car will drop down the field a touch. It'll all unwind, of course, as everybody makes the pit stops. 92 seconds is the time. just got down the pit lane as well, Marcus Pavarud. As there you see, 26 back on track. So that is the BMW now in the hands of Koen Bogaerts. He's taking it over from Mark van der Aert, and he is there just ahead of David Griesner. So in between second and third, and that impedes Griesner rather going up towards the Schumacher S. He's encountered him in exactly the wrong part of the road. Koen Bogaerts will hopefully dive out of the way. The Aston Martin lines up to have a go on the inside up towards now turn 11, and David Griesner does go through. McLaren hanging on to second then, third Aston Martin, fourth Audi, which is the car of Nicolai Müller-Madsen, the outgoing Silver Cup champion. And who is the next of the leading group to pit? There is number 2 then, that's Marcus Pavarud giving way to Luke Trefts. And second stays out, third stays out. Ignore that BMW, was a lap down. What we need to be seeing in a sense is where the other black BM of Simon Knapp is, but that again becomes a little academic until the rival 4 Mercedes has pitted in, almost into the Armco as he presses on Gabriele Piana, the Pro-Am leader in the race, pitching for the championship, but has he done enough? It's really great, it's out of his hands really. He needs more Pro-Am opposition to get between that car and the number 2 Mercedes, with Luki Treft now serving its stop. So Piana in, and the Pro-Am leader gives up the class lead to Nicolas Schurl in the Porsche. And is Schurl going to come in as well on that lap? Let's just see. 21, no, it's the sister car, Benjamin Mazetis. So Nicolas Schurl takes over the Pro-Am lead. Marius Zug here takes over the number 111 BMW. Meantime, on track, Ricardo van der Ende is on lap 15 as he comes down towards turn 8 through the right-hander. Now accelerates up towards the Schumacher S with the KTM behind, Elke Angermeyer having started in that car. See in the background, back into the race, number 2 Mercedes, so that now means that Luki Trefts is on track. That's of course the Pro-Am championship leading car. Interesting here though, van der Ende looked through the corners, being given a really hard time by the KTM. So that car that Mads Siljehaug does the second stint in, really pressing on. Siljehaug, of course, having made that pit stop way down in 29th place, but it's, as we've seen from yesterday's race, a very quick car through corners, that, in a straight line, doesn't have the grunt with its 2-litre turbo engine, but through the corners, demon quick. Van der Ende staying out for another lap, maximising the time behind the wheel. Benjamin Lassen is in, and also in is David Griesner. So second and third, both down the pit lane here. In they come. Stops cycle through, some coming in as you see, some leaving the pit lane, including the Ginetta. So Lassen and Griesner come in with virtually nothing between them. And is Nicolai Müller-Madsen in? Yes, he is, in the Phoenix Run Audi R8 GT4. We've also got Nicolas Schurl, 22 Porsche, coming in. There is Benjamin Lassen arriving for Scotsman Dan Mackay to take over with his seat. So the Equipe for sure McLaren with the rapid driver change going through. Away blasts the Max Tresoldi Paolo Meloni BMW. Paolo Meloni now at the wheel. That car suffered damage early on. Now into the McLaren is Dan Mackay. And the recent BRDC member, ready to see whether he can get ahead of his brother, maybe take a race win. 18 is now going to be driven by Akhil Rabindra, taking over from David Griesner, who did a really good first stint. What can Rabindra do now as Benjamin Lassen walks away? Good job done by a French driver, but there, Dutchman Ricardo van der Ende still leads the race. All those klaxons in the background for Nicolai Müller-Madsen, because he's got his own very noisy fan club here, and as he got out of the car, fan club responding. Number 99 is under investigation for speeding in the pit lane. 99 is the Dominic Olbert-driven KTM. It's not going to threaten the leaders. Change for second place on the pit stops. Akhil Rabindra gets ahead of Dan Mackay. Look, the Aston comes out ahead of the McLaren. Now, does that mean that that was a slow stop by the McLaren or a really good stop by the Aston Martin team? It's a slow stop by the McLaren. In comes the leader. So 1 minute 37 for the McLaren, 1 minute 34.5 for the Aston Martin. Advantage Aston on the pit stop. It's a slow pit stop by the Vasseur team. And here's the leader in Ricardo van der Ende to give way to Ewan Mackay. The Equerries squad is experienced but can't afford to drop the ball here, otherwise it's going to cost a chunk of its lead. Ewan Mackay not as quick as Ricardo van der Ende, but getting quicker all the time. Stands ready to take the car over. So there is number 14, that's Dan Mackay, under attack from Patrick Niederhauser. So it's going to be Ewan Mackay as the race leader ahead of Akil Rabindra, then Dan Mackay, then Patrick Niederhauser provisionally as the top four. And Niederhauser in that KTM is looking mighty menacing at the moment as they come into turn 8. Remember, he's a little bit further into the stint as well, so he's got a slightly better grasp of what the car and the track feels like. Uphill they go. Way back in 20th still is Luke Trefts. Into the pit lane has come Clement Zeiler to give way to Pascal Bachmann. The leading AMS as their number 16 Koffer. Now Niederhauser's KTM tries to take advantage of a bit of curb hopping from Dan Mackay. So Niederhauser all over the back of him. Number 4 in, so the Silver Cup Championship leading car. Jan Kishil gives way to Max Kubolt. Let's see whether that car now is going to be able to score a championship or not. The pressure is on, that's for certain. It was not a great qualifying, and that's put the Leipzig team on the back foot here. Simon Knapp, 7th overall at the moment, and that's going to shuffle again with more stops cycling through. So the pit window is now closed. Everybody has been in. There, leaving is Ewan Mackay, but where is the opposition then? Where will the Aston Martin be? There, at the top of the pit straight, so it's still a big gap that the BMW has over 2nd, 3rd, 4th, where it is now Rabindra ahead of Mackay, ahead of Niederhauser, ahead of Knapp. Through they turn, and does Max Kubolt rejoin anywhere near this? Not yet, still not given the release signal. So Akil Rabindra hanging on to 2nd place. He and David Griesner have run well together this year, but they could be on here for best result of the season. Dan Mackay in 3rd, and Niederhauser crawling all over the back of him. Patrick Niederhauser, who won at Brands, goes through on the inside, goes deep into turn 3, but recovers it. And that car, the Brands Hatch winning KTM, Patrick Niederhauser up ahead of Dan Mackay, goes into 3rd place and tries to sprint clear. Next target for Niederhauser will be Akil Rabindra. However, they are on a part of the circuit where the grunt of the McLaren might just help against the smaller engine KTM. Niederhauser, though, knows exactly how to defend. Defend he does as they drop downhill now. There are pit stops under investigation. One of them is the number 18, Aston Martin. Another one is number 66, yesterday's winning car, Romain Monti at the wheel, and another one that is being investigated is 61 of Tom Wood, taking over from Mika Stanley. Tom Wood, former Ginetta Junior front runner, his early career looked after by Donington Park when Christopher Tate was in charge and supporting a local driver. Tom Wood currently 21st, but under investigation and getting a 1-second stop-go penalty for being too short on the pit stops. Tom Wood gets a 1-second stop-go penalty. And there is the number 18, Aston Martin of Akil Rabindra, but that is under investigation as well and is being given a 1-second stop-go penalty for being short on the pit stop. A 1-second stop-go for number 18 and a 2-second stop-go for Romain Monti, Alex Lambert. So they started in the pits, they're going back in the pits for a stop-go, yesterday's winners. So that hard work done by the Aston Martin team, the Pro Sport Performance squad, is about to be undone. And of course, significantly, that's going to promote Simon Knapp, but also promote Max Kubolt, potentially, with these penalties for people having to come into the pits and lose track position. There, Dan Mackay, quicker in a straight line, more power in a straight line, has a go at Niederhauser. They're both going to gain a place, of course, when that Aston bails for the pit lane. Through the arena they turn once again here. So Akil Rabindra running 2nd, but about to give up that place. The leading gap is a mighty 11.5 seconds. Ewan Mackay head down, getting on with the job, trying to pull away from the opposition. And the Aston Martin going strongly here in the hands of Rabindra. It's a real shame. He's going to have to take that penalty. Romain Monti is coming in to serve his stop-go. Yesterday's winning car will drop further back down the order. It's a bit snakes and ladders for that car. Start last, work up, take a penalty, drop down, do it all over again. Downhill goes Niederhauser, determined to find a way past, rather than just rely on Akhil Rabindra's stop-go penalty to give him second position. Down through turn 8 they go, and then climb the hill once again. Second, third, fourth. As one, up towards turns 11 and 12, Akhil Rabindra with this Damocletian penalty still to be served. Niederhauser, then Dan Mackay, and in fifth, not that far behind now, is Simon Knapp. Now can Simon Knapp get close enough to gain more places? He's 6 seconds back from the McLaren, which is still being held up a little bit by the KTM, being held up behind the Aston Martin. Through the chicane comes Rabindra, and he's not for pitting, is he? You've got 3 passes at the line once the message goes on the screen. It's going to be 2 of them, so Akhil Rabindra running out of time to come and serve that stop-go penalty. Otherwise, the race director and the stewards are going to get very jumpy. The boards are going out, never mind the fact that it's on the timing screen, so the local officials hang the boards over the pit wall. Akhil Rabindra breaks for turn 1 as Dan Mackay comes back to the outside line of Patrick Niederhauser, but his tighter inside line should give the KTM the place. It does. Niederhauser hangs on to third. Down through the arena goes Niederhauser, and Akhil Rabindra hanging on to the place. So just shy of 20 minutes of the race still to go. The leading gap is up now to 11.9 seconds because Rabindra here is that cork in the bottle preventing Patrick Niederhauser from going after the race leader. Dan Mackay falling back a little bit now in 4th place. He had that go, didn't he, coming over the line last time, but it didn't work, and he's lost a chunk of time against the KTM ahead of him there. Up the hill come the leaders then, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Where can the McLaren find that lost time? Behind, Simon Knapp, not really catching actually. The BMW is 5th, but not really closing. And then in 6th place, it's Alex Mees not scoring points ahead of Max Kubold. So really, you've got the Championship Silver Cup leading drivers 5th and 6th in terms of points. And that means that there's going to be 10 for Knapp and Udell and 8 for the Mercedes drivers. There are only 2 points between them anyway going into this, so that's going to mean a tie on points. Then you go back to wins, and a win at Brands for Kishil and Kubold, a win at Bassano, and Knapp and Udell have had 3. So there, as Akhil Rabindra takes the stop-go penalty on a tie-break on wins, the championship would go the way of Knapp and Udell if things stay as they are. So now Patrick Niederhauser goes over the timing line, having to defend once again from Dan Mackay in the McLaren and into turn 1. Now Niederhauser, if you like, released from behind the Aston Martin, 13 seconds behind the race leader. Now, can he do anything about that? This is the section where he's able to pull away. The KTM, as we know, is good through the twiddly bits, so the nimble 2-litre turbo engine car now is able to pull away, and the McLaren accelerates through in 3rd place, but you'll see the gap has widened compared to what it was over the timing line. So that's 2nd and 3rd. Niederhauser has got to make up 13 seconds against the race leader, not easy. There in the background is number 25, so that is Simon Knapp. Ignore the Aston Martin, because although it's running 6th, it doesn't score points. And there is the Mercedes. So in real terms, 6th for points in the Silver Cup, set to tie, but lose on number of wins. Could not be closer, could it, in the Silver Cup? What a way to end the year. So now, ideally, Kubold needs something to happen to Simon Knapp. Even if Mees gets ahead, doesn't help him. Even if he gets ahead of Mees, doesn't help him, because that car doesn't score points. Up the hill climbs the Mercedes then. Where does Akhil Rabindra drop back into after his stop-go penalty? A long, long way back is the answer. So real shame for the Aston Martin team. 1 second short, that was all on the pit stop, and it's cost them dear. So there going through is the 2017 champion, Max Kobolt. And that car accelerates downhill, but it looks as though, despite their best efforts, they're going to come up short, Kishil and Kobolt. And part of that, you've got to say, was down to qualifying. That car mired towards midfield, struggled to make progress in the first part of the race. So the Mercedes out of the chicane. The leaders go through them with 20 laps completed now, and 12.7 seconds is the margin. Turning their way then down through the arena with Ewan Mackay being caught a little by Niederhauser. Dan Mackay third, Simon Knapp fourth, and it's Mies, Kobolt, Marius Zug seventh, heading Pro-Am. But Lucky Trefts is third in Pro-Am, and that's enough to secure the championship. Yesterday we got through 28 laps of the race, still got a quarter of an hour to go, and there is the number 4 Mercedes once more through the arena. This car looking as though it's going to just lose out. Tied on points, but losing out on number of wins on the tie-break. There's confirmation of the points that they will be scoring if things stay as they are. So Simon Knapp drops downhill, still being chased by the Alex Mies Aston Martin. It's interesting to see the pace of the two Pro Sport Performance Aston's relative to the Academy cars, but that one not scoring points, and the other one that could have scored points is 11th now, Akhil Rabindra, after the stop-go penalty. So actually could have been a lot worse, but 11th is where the car is. Simon Knapp running fourth, dropping away from the top three. So you get the feeling now the aim here is just to bring it home, score well, and the job will be done. The team will be notifying Simon Knapp of the pace, the progress of Max Kobolt, what the championship situation is. As long as he stays there and Kobolt stays where he is, they're good for the title. A long way back though from the leader. The margin is 20 seconds from the leading BMW. Ewan Mackay has gone through. Patrick Niederhauser will come through shortly in second place as champion-elect within the Silver Cup. Simon Knapp and Alec Udell head into the turn 17 right-hander. Don't forget, first visit to the Nurburgring for Alec Udell. He's not raced in Europe up until this season, so learning about new circuits, adapting well all the time. Lead gap, 12.5 seconds. It's coming down by tenths rather than by chunks of seconds. So Ewan Mackay still with 13.5 minutes on the clock, looking strong, looking good for the win. There is 111, BMW of Marius Zug. And Zug, ex-Carter, moving into cars this year, and with Gabriele Piana as a good, quick co-driver and a driver coach, which of course is the other important factor that the pros bring to all of this. They had a really good season within Pro-Am. They're not going to win the title, seemingly, unless dramas before Lucky Trefts, but it's been a good season nonetheless. That car for the RN Vision STS team swoops through. It's got one of the best colour schemes on the grid, very distinctive, and downhill drops the Pro-Am BMW then. So it's going to be, if things stay as they are, the Pro-Am Championship 2. Marcus Pavarud and Lucky Trefts from Marius Zug and Gabriele Piana and Dominic Schrammel and Jan Rehn are going to have to finish to net third in the championship. Over the curb right, Zug makes the run now towards the turn 11. Left-hander, brakes, sets the car up, hustles it through, rides the curb on the inside. And there is now another investigation going on, and that is between the number 1 Audi and yet again the 718 Porsche. So that's Cedric Freiberghaus and Ivan Yakumo now being looked at for an incident at turn 12. It's going to be looked at after the race. The final result of the GT4 showdown we'll find on the championship website, I suspect, because it could be that the stewards have quite a long afternoon. Number 2 then, the champions elect in Pro-Am, Luki Trefts and Marcus Pavarud come up now into the chicane for the 22nd time of asking. Hunting down, you'll see Akhil Rabindra there, the Indian driver, former MSV Formula 4 racer. And right now, Simon Knapp hunting for the championship. Alexander Mees on his tail. So the Aston Martin trying to find a way ahead of the BMW, but it doesn't affect things for the championship because, as I've been saying, the Aston is not a point-scoring car. The 2 drivers in it late into the championship, if you come in within the last 2 events, you don't score points. So although there's going to be a place change, Simon Knapp, the only benefit to Knapp to keep him the Aston behind is so he doesn't end up being caught by the Mercedes, but it won't affect the championship if the Aston goes by. Simon Knapp will still inherit the points because you, for the scoring, take that Aston Martin out of the equation. So even if he loses a place on the road, he'll gain it back in terms of the points. Simon Knapp down through turn 8, hanging on a position for the moment. But again, there's a decision to be made. Do I fight? Do I get involved in a battle? Might go wrong, or do I let him go? And then Max Kobold might be able to catch the BMW. So Simon Knapp with 10 minutes to go, going through the thought process. There is the number 17 Aston Martin, which has got Pascal Bachmann at the wheel. Now, they were 22 points ahead of Eric Mouet and David Loger coming into this. Pascal Bachmann and Clement Seiler, they should still be on target for the championship in the Am Cup. Clement Seiler, the young Swiss, came into the sport after a spell on 2 wheels. And ex-rally driver Pascal Bachmann running with him in that car. So in the AMS, the street art racing entry, Belgian team. Pascal Bachmann is behind the wheel of it at the moment, but Clement Seiler, his father Antoine, very well-connected motorsport figure, for a time part of the TWR squad on the marketing and promotional side in the Jaguar days. But over the line goes Pascal Bachmann. Now look behind, Simon Knapp is under attack, very definitely under attack from Alexander Mees, and Mads Siljehaug has got himself up past Max Kobold. So that for 6th place means it's very much advantage BMW because Kobold has lost a place. There you see it in the background. The KTM has gone ahead and Mads Siljehaug does score points. So no longer do we have a tie, irrespective of what the Aston Martin is up to. Knapp can afford to let him go. So now that blue and white KTM in the background, taking a place away from Max Kobold, secures the championship for the BMW. If the KTM gets back past the BMW, then they're going to be equal on points once again, aren't they? Here they come, up towards turn 5. Equal on points means you go to the tie, you look at the number of wins. BMW wins on the tie break through the number of wins. So still the BM with the advantage, but Mads Siljehaug here could play quite an important part in this. He's got past Kobold, and now he needs to try to make up 3.3 seconds and get past in 8 minutes. So battle is joined there. 24 goes through turn 8. So Simon Knapp drops to 5th in the race, but actually comes back at Mees, look, as they head up the hill. Still gives him 4th in terms of points, which gives him 12. And there is Siljehaug going ahead of Pascal Bachmann. Has Bachmann got a problem, or is he just being very slow, very careful, letting them go? Has he got a puncture? Is that Aston Martin got a puncture in the background? So the car that's on target to win the Am Cup, I'm suddenly getting a bit concerned about. It might have been just purely gentlemanly driving and getting out of the way, but it was just something off the corner of my eye that made me a bit concerned about that car. Let's have another look. Comes down the hill. No, just being a gentleman. There's some rubber flies, though. Still getting concerned about it. 3 turns, but Bachmann getting out of everybody's way, letting them go. Again, chunks of rubber flail from underneath that car and not from others. Keep an eye on this. So Pascal Bachmann out of the chicane. He's going to carry on at any rate for another lap. Comes through 7 minutes on the clock now. So right now, 12 points go the way of the BMW, and it's going to be 8 points going to the number 4 Mercedes, which gives a 2-point win in the championship to the BMW. However, if the KTM there gets through, they're going to end up tying on points, and you go back to the number of wins. So, tense situation here all round. What the Mercedes team now needs is for Mads Siljehaug to have a nibble at the BMW and delay it, and things could change anyway, because We've now got number 1, Cedric Freiberghaus, coming down the pit lane in the Audi. That was a car behind this group anyway, but it's going to shuffle the order for the second half of the field and change how the overall order looks before the very end. But if Sillyhound gets up with the BMW and attacks and delays Simon Canap, could Cobalt strike? He's not that far behind, look, but he's struggling to make up those final few seconds. Simon Canap, I suspect, however, is experienced enough not to fall foul of a battle. We'll find out what happens, though, over these remaining minutes as the cars now swing through turn 8 here. 6 minutes are on the clock, and the leader remains Ewan Mackay. We've not seen much of him in the last few laps, but he's driven very well here, finally looking as though it's going to be a first win for him. Number 4, Max Cobalt, pushing on. And you can see the way that Sillyhound was caught right up to the BMW. So now Simon Canap has to make this decision. Does he defend for another 5.5 minutes? Ain't going to be easy. Or does he let the KTM go and relies on the tie-break? Right now, he and Alec Udell are champions by 2 points, which is a handy cushion to have. Up the curb, climbs Mads Sillyhaug, comes now through that right-hander of turn 17. Over the timing line goes the BM, goes the KTM. The BM should have the advantage now in a straight line as they go down towards turn 1. We're on lap 26, 3 laps to go, I would reckon, as they head into the braking zone. That's quite a lot to ask of Canap to defend if the KTM is much the quicker. Through the corner they turn. And Mads Sillyhound goes for the inside line. Simon Canap gives him room, effectively lets him go. There's no point picking a fight with that car. So Simon Canap hangs on to the championship. Yes, Sillyhoug has got ahead of him. Max Cobalt is closing, and this could be the last battle then in the last 4.5 minutes. Can that Mercedes get up onto the back of the black BMW? Through turn 5 they come. So yet again, we have the tie-break situation in the Silver Cup. We've got them tied on points, but the BMW team will win on wins, on the tie-break, on the countback. A flash of the lights from Max Cobalt, trying to unsettle Simon Canap. Through the right-hander of turn 8. So 4 more minutes to go. Ewan Mackay leads the way comfortably as well. There he is up the hill, and Ewan Mackay looking strong, looking good for the victory here as he comes into the chicane once again. So he's got time for 2 more laps, that's for certain, as he comes now into turn 17. The Ginetta is behind, which is lapped, of course, and a long way down in 27th place. Through goes Ewan Mackay. In second spot will be Patrick Niederhauser, but he's a long way back. And in third, it's going to be Dan Mackay in the McLaren. So Niederhauser breaks the beam eventually. And let's see the gap, 11.4 seconds. It's not coming down at all for the win. Dan Mackay third, fourth then Alex Mies. Fifth is there, Mads Sillyhaug. Turns through ahead of Simon Canap, and then Max Cobalt. Over the timing line they go, and Ewan Mackay still clear in the race lead, 11.4 seconds to the good. Max Cobalt brakes, turns into the turn 1 right-hander. So the Mercedes hustles on. And Sillyhaug hanging on to 5th on the road. So downhill heads then the BMW in the hands of Simon Canap. There is Max Cobalt still chasing on behind, doing his level best to get onto terms as the cars then sprint up the hill. So Alexander Mees fourth, Dan Mackay third, Patrick Niederhauser running second, and Ewan Mackay a comfortable race leader. Max Kobold still chasing. And there is the number 8 BMW, Ewan Mackay, who's on his last lap then, less than a lap time left in the race. So car number 8 on target for the victory. There, lower down, is the slightly easier class to resolve, Pro-Am. Luke Trefts is on target to score the honours. And there is the Mercedes that comes through. Downhill, Ewan Mackay looking for the first win. And as he turns through turn 8, Ewan Mackay and Ricardo van der Ende on target for an overdue race victory. Ewan Mackay, as you'll see on the front flanks of the cars, part of the BRDC Rising Stars programme, looking after young British talents, and he's worked so hard for this. And there you've got the BMW on target for honours as it comes up towards turn 12. Checkered flag at the ready, and the final round of the GT4 European Series is going to be won by the Equus team, by the BMW here, the M4 in the hands of Ricardo van der Ende and Ewan Mackay taking a first victory of the season. They've worked so hard for that, but it has finally come, and it's a win for the BMW. For the championship, though, it is going to be Simon Knapp and Alec Udell who will come through in the BMW there. It is going to be a tie-break, and on wins, it is going to be 3-2 for the BMW. Simon Knapp, Alec Udell win the Silver Cup in the championship. On the line, virtually, from Max Kobold and Jan Kissel. Delight from the BMW team. The lights flash, the celebrations begin. And there in the background, Gabriele Piana and Marius Zug's BMW comes home to win Pro-Am in the race. But this car will win Pro-Am in the championship. Lucky Trefts, Marcus Pavarud up towards the checkered flag. And honours for the Mercedes as it comes across the timing line. The Lippert Motorsport car wins the Pro-Am Championship, and Pascal Bachmann and Clement Seiler win the AM Championship as the Aston Martin crosses the line as well. Still they pour over the line, and lower down there are 1 or 2 cars with penalties potentially, with incidents being looked at post-race, but it's not going to affect the leading 7 across the line. So if you, as I say, take out the number 19 Aston, which doesn't score points, it ends up with this car and the number 4 Mercedes tied on points, and with more wins, Simon Knapp and Alec Udell take the 2019 GT4 European Series crown. It could not have been closer, couldn't have been more tense, could it either, towards the end of the race. An excellent season for Alec Udell in particular, bearing in mind that he's new to the circuits. So as the field heads now down through the turn 5 sequence down the hill, there'll be much to discuss, I'm sure, post-race when the drivers get into the Parc Fermé area. And it's a shame as well that we lost from that leading group the Akhil Rabindra, David Griesner, Aston Martin, the Austrian driver, David Griesner. I think he said he was a German during the race, apologies, the Austrian driver, having done a really good first stint. Akhil Rabindra serving that stop-go penalty, but the former ski jumper and cross-country skier David Griesner being one of the standouts in that first stint. Simon Knapp then, new champion. the MDM Motorsport team will be very, very pleased indeed about the championship title. But it's going to be interesting to see what Alec Udell does next. Is he going to stay in European racing? Is he going to stay in GT4, move to GT3? Where does he go next? It's been a very, very good season for him. So down the pit road they come. A delighted Ricardo van der Ende goes to join Ewan Mackay. Finally, they've had the win they've been working for all season.
Good times.
So out gets Ewan Mackay. Ricardo van der Ende celebrates. Of course, he's also a Satina watch winner because he gets a watch for his pole position, as all the class pole position drivers get. And let's hear from our winning drivers, because Ricardo van der Ende and Ewan Mackay are with Dakota.
Guys, congratulations. After yesterday, I bet you cannot believe that you're finally here on P1.
Yeah, finally, like in 2017, we got 2 victories in this car here at the Nurburgring. Last year was a first and a second in the McLaren. So to do a first and a second this weekend again in the Acres BMW, I'm really delighted.
Now, you guys had a fantastic pit stop as well.
Yeah, I think we're second in the pit stop challenge. So we weren't really aiming for that, but it was okay. But yesterday in qualifying, I only did 1 lap, which was good. So I still had a peak in the tire for the first couple of laps. So we just gone. But if it's okay, I want to dedicate this win to the SRO Motorsport team, because we've been suffering a little this year, and to all the people who work in the SRO BMW dealership, because they've been working their asses off. And I want to say hi to my daughters. Bye-bye.
That's very sweet. We're going to have a word with you. And Ewan, you want to come over here? And say, I can say congratulations to you finally. You come out the better brother.
Yeah, almost. I think they just beat us in the championship by a couple of points, 2 points. So it was very close in the end. But to finish with a win is great, and it shows how much effort the Acres boys have put in. They've been working so hard every weekend since, we didn't even start that first race at Monza. And that just shows where we could have been in the championship with this car. It's so good, so quick, and we showed that today.
I think you finished with 12.5 seconds difference, so total domination. Well done, guys. Thanks.
Well, a great race for that BMW team, a great race for another, the MDM Motorsport squad, taking the championship with Simon Knapp and Alec Udell. And second place in the race behind this BMW combination, Patrick Niederhauser and also Reinhard Koffler having another good run. And there, the Leipert drivers, Lucky Treffs and Marcus Pavarud, they are the Pro-Am winners in the Mercedes. Silver Cup honours to Alec Udell and Simon Knapp. And the AMs, well done, Clement Zeiler and Pascal Bachmann. Oddly, last in the race, but still taking a championship title. Ewan Mackay, they're taking honours. There is the scene in Parc Fermé, the top 3 overall, and in the classes as well. So Marcus Pavarud and Lucky Treffs are new Pro-Am champions with Dakota.
A massive well done. Winners of Pro-Am. How does it feel to be standing down here?
Yeah, it feels really great. And Marcus did a really good job at the start, and I'm really happy that we won the championship. So yeah, it was so nice. The whole season was perfect. So yeah, thanks to my teammate and to my team, Leipert Motorsport and Marcus. So yeah, he did a great job, and yeah, I'm really happy.
Marcus, it was great teamwork this year, and obviously the result shows.
Yeah, for sure. You see the car's been working perfectly all season. I think we're one of the only cars who's been finishing 100% of the races. And that, as you see, works out in the end. Now we're championship winners, and yeah, I can't stop smiling.
Congratulations, guys. Go get your trophies. Thanks.
Thank you.
Certainly been a good season for the two of them, and again, the interest is, where do they go next? Is it going to be another season within GT4? Let's just confirm the results then of the race. First of all, Ricardo van der Ende, Ewan Mackay, the winners from Reinhard Koffler and Patrick Niederhauser. Third, Dan Mackay and Benjamin Lecene, ahead of Mike David Ortman and Alexander Mies. In 5th place, we had Mads Siljehaug and Eike Angermeyer ahead of Simon Knapp and Alec Udall, enough to give them the championship. On the tie-break from Jan Kisiel and Max Kobold, with Marius Zug and Gabriele Piana winning Pro-Am from Jan Kasperlik and Niklas Schürrle. And after a stop-go penalty, David Griesner and Akhil Rabindra taking 10th place. There, lower down the order, we have the second half of the field. Good drive by Finlay Hutchinson and Matt Cowley. We didn't see terribly much of them, but good fight up through the field there from the back of the grid. Finlay Hutchinson not having even qualified the car, being parachuted in after it was Will Moore who decided to stand down, not race this weekend. And Dominic Albert and Stephen Patrick we lost as well. Sadly, Andy Merrick had been going strongly, but that car we lost in the final third of the race. So the drivers very shortly will be heading up towards the podium, and a great season of GT4 European Series racing. Look forward to more of the same next year, and it's going to be interesting to see what is the car to have, what will be the best driver combination. But for this year, on the tie-break with more wins, Simon Knapp and Alec Udall ahead of Jan Kisiel and Mats Kobold, Dan Mackay and Benjamin Lessen 5th, Ewan Mackay 7th ahead of, with Ricardo van der Ende ahead of Reinhard Koffler and Patrick Niederhauser, with the outgoing champion Nikolai Müller-Madsen with Cedric Freiberghaus next. And even though they only did a part season, good results for Alex Lamberts and Romain Monti. Makes one wonder what could have been achieved had they done the whole season. So that is how we end the season within the Silver Cup. And as far as the Pro-Am situation is concerned, confirmation that Marcus Pavarud and Lucky Treffs take the title ahead of Marius Zug and Gabriele Piana. They were always going to be the outsiders, but they got to within 8 points, which is pretty good going, got to say. And Marius Zug, in his first year of car racing, doing a very impressive job indeed. So let's see what develops next year, with Dominic Schrammel and Jan Reinig taking 3rd ahead of Jan Kasperlik and Niklas Schürrle. Alain Fette and Gregoire de Moustier, race winners this year within the class, but absent here this weekend. Clement Seiler and Pascal Bachmann, the victors within the AM Cup this year. 20 points to the good of David Loger and Eric Mouet, who again were class winners within races. Johan Van Rom and Jean-Luc Verhet also stood on the top step of the podium this year. They completed the season 3rd, ahead of the absent from this weekend, Lisette Brahms and Gabby Uli. Let's have a look at some of the best bits then of the final round of the championship, with that pit lane start for Alex Lamberts, and it was Ricardo van der Ende getting the advantage as they dived down towards the first corner. Early in the race, Mark van der Aert trying to defend from the number 4 Jan Kisiel Mercedes, but eventually the door was prized open as into the pit lane came the Mercedes. The drivers' pit stop cycled through and blasting back into the race, getting ahead on the stops, Akhil Rabindra into 2nd position, but he was too short on the pit stop, copped a stop-go penalty, and that meant that the number 18 Aston dropped down the field, giving 2nd place to Patrick Niederhauser and Reinhard Koffler. There was no stopping the Ecris BMW, though, that was on target for its maiden win of the season. Ewan Mackay and Ricardo van der Ende, the race winners, but the Silver Cup champions being Simon Knapp and Alec Udall. Off the road was the Guillaume Mondron and Laurent Jaspers Audi, and through to the checkered flag came BMW number 8. A good win for Ewan Mackay and Ricardo van der Ende, and this sums up the Silver Cup. Together on the road, tied on points, more wins though, giving the title to Simon Knapp and Alec Udall at the end of a great season of GT4 European Series racing. So there for 3rd and for 2nd, you have the drivers on the podium, Benjamin Lessen and Dan Mackay, now up step, Reinhard Koffler and Patrick Niederhauser, and race winners, Ricardo van der Ende and Ewan Mackay. Congratulations, Ricardo van der Ende and Ewan Mackay, winners of the final race within the GT4 European Series. And so now the trophies brought forward. That top three that you see is also, of course, the top three in the Silver Cup. There for second place, race winners this year, Patrick Niederhauser and Reinhard Koffler received the trophies at the other end of the podium. Benjamin Lecen and Dan Mackay have been race winners, and now a race winner is Ewan Mackay along with Ricardo van der Ende. Everyone together for the photographs, and then they will spray the champagne, no doubt. The champagne is ready. Race winners at the Nurburgring, Ricardo van der Ende and Ewan Mackay. Dan gets an eye full of champagne and still struggling to get the cork out of the bottle here. He'll get there eventually. Yes, take that, Ewan, he says. It'll be a very, very proud dad, Paul Mackay, I'm sure, watching that. Paul himself, a former racer, before a huge, huge accident at Spa in Carrera Cup GB, and he's still recovering, but a lot better than he was. And he's here, as ever, walking around the paddock, very proud of his two sons. And that, with both of them on the podium, will be quite a day. So well done, Ewan Mackay and Ricardo van der Ende. Race winners, and they're the Norwegian flags for Marcus Paverud and Lucky Trefts, third in the Pro-Am race, but champions. Lucky Trefts, the German driver, the Norwegian is Marcus Paverud, who gets a good reception as he steps forward with them onto the podium. Third in Pro-Am in the race. Second, number 22, Jan Kasperlik and Nicholas Schurl in the very smart Porsche Cayman, run by the Allied Racing Team. Nicholas Schurl came to prominence really here a year ago in the Central European Championship. And then the race winners, but vanquished in the championship, Gabriele Piana and Mario Sug. Well done, Mario Sug, Gabriele Piana. A great season they have had, missing out just, though, on that championship. But in terms of race wins, they've looked strong all season. As there, the trophies go to Marcus Paverud and to Lucky Trefts. Third in the race, winners in the championship. For second place there, the trophies to Jan Kasperlik and to Nicholas Schurl. And then for the race winners and the championship runners-up, Mario Sug and Gabriele Piana. Everybody now marshalled forward to the top step of the podium. And in a moment or two, the celebrations can get underway. So they're a very happy Lucky Trefts and Marcus Paverud. First season of driving together, and it has worked very effectively indeed as a partnership. drivers making their way now from the podium. And that leaves us with just the AM drivers to present themselves. There they are, and the champions in and amongst them as well, Pascal Bachmann and Clement Seiler. So out they stride, with third going the way of Angelique de Tavernier and David Dermont. For second, it is Bob Herber and Alessandro Giovanelli, and the winners, Jean-Luc Behetz and Johan van der Rum. Drivers all there, and now the trophies presented to Angelique de Tavernier, who we've seen racing in Blancpain GT Sports Club as well as in the Fun Cup in Belcar, for example, and now coming into GT4 along with David Dermont. They're the second placed drivers, Bob Herber and Alessandro Giovanelli. But the winners, Jean-Luc Behetz and Johan van der Rum. So as the national anthem fades, the drivers now have the champagne at their disposal. And congratulations to Johan van der Rum and Jean-Luc Behetz, the winners of the final GT4 European Series race of the weekend. Who gets the soaking at the other end of the podium? Championship officials scatter, and it's the team, I think, yes, that cops the worst of it. So everybody gets a good soaking. And a great season of GT4 European Series action. Champions crowned. We'll look forward to more of the same next year. From the Nurburgring and David Anderson for now, goodbye.